Hello everyone, I'm back with a review video of the Google Pixel Watch 3. I've had this watch for a couple weeks now since the launch date, and I want to go ahead and share my experience with it so far. If you did happen to catch my review of the Pixel Watch 2, I'm going to say up front, if you have the Pixel Watch 2 and you're happy with it, I'm not sure if you necessarily need to upgrade, but if you took advantage of the trade-in deals in the beginning and you wanted the bigger watch, which is what I did, because I did want the bigger watch, then it definitely would be worth the upgrade, especially if those deals come back. So let's go ahead and get into some of the details of it and move forward. As far as the build quality is concerned, Google doesn't make a premium watch like the Samsung Ultra or the Apple Watch Ultra. This watch is on par with like the base model aluminum Apple Watch or the Samsung 7 watch, like the base series, not necessarily the Ultra series or the premium series or like the classic. It's not quite at that level. So just keep that in mind first and foremost. Now, I would say it's, on par with those watches. Perhaps it's better than a high-end Fitbit watch. So I feel compelled to wear a screen protector because it doesn't have like sapphire glass or anything that is going to protect it in the way that my Apple Watch Ultra does, where I can bang that thing around and I don't get any scratches or anything like that. Even the Apple Watch 4 that I had a while back, the stainless steel version, I never would get scratches on the screen. So this one, I feel compelled to have a screen protector. I did make a video, and if you can see, the screen protector is pretty messed up. I'm pretty hard on my watches though, so this might not necessarily be the case for you. If you ever meet me, don't ask me to look at your watch because you'll probably end up getting a scratch on it somehow. So that's how bad I am with watches. So I'm somebody who needs to have this for this type of watch. If it was a base model watch without the sapphire glass, then I definitely need some extra protection. Having said that, just sort of keep that in mind. I do like the design of this watch. It kind of reminds me of the old Moto 360s, if you're old enough to remember those. The round watch face, I really like that. This is nice and big, 45 millimeter, which is why I upgraded, because the 41 was a little too small for my wrist. So I definitely like the larger fit here. That's primarily the main reason why I actually upgraded, because I wasn't really using the 41 millimeter watch too much. And this I use every day. So just, kind of keep that in mind. I do the 2 watch thing, like, the big nerd out there. Okay, so there's that. I do also like the 1 button design. It makes things a lot simpler. Let me go ahead and put my passcode in. The OS, Wear OS is super intuitive. So, you're just sliding through things and everything is where you need it to be, okay? So I do like Wear OS. Everything is super simple. Swipe up, swipe down, right? Go this way to get to your tiles. It's way more intuitive to use, in my opinion, than my Apple Watch Ultra, which has multiple buttons. And I still, after all this time, get confused which button goes to which. I know the workout button is over here, the action button, but which one is the settings, which one is the apps. I'm always mixing those up. Maybe that's just me, but that's what I do. You don't have to do the button calisthenics with 1 button kind of deal here. Now, I know the other Apple Watches are a little simpler, so it could just be that I have the Ultra watch as well, okay? But I do find the OS more intuitive than Apple's or Samsung's offering, especially the Tizen OS. I wasn't a big fan of that at all. So just, for me personally, I think that it's really, intuitive. There is the other Fitbit integration and the fitness integration as well, which I think if you look at DC Rainmaker's videos, which I really suggest, there's also a couple other YouTubers out there. I mentioned one in my Pixel 2 review who does really good scientific studies of like the accuracy of the fitness settings, of heart rate monitoring and all that kind of stuff, sleep tracking. And this watch is on par with the Apple Watch, damn near, comparatively speaking. So just keep that in mind. Now, I don't like the fact that Fitbit is $80 per year once you pass like the 6-month trial period. So that's not really cool. But if you think about what you pay for like MyFitnessPal and all these other apps, and you get to do pretty much like kind of an all-in-one kind of kind of have an all-in-one kind of app. And I do like the Fitbit app. So that integration is fantastic, right? I really like it. It is $80, but you don't have to use premium. I think if you're not, I think you can get by without using the premium if you don't really want to. But if you do use a premium, I mean, to be honest, the $80 a year isn't any more than MyFitnessPal. So just something to keep in mind as well. I used to use, before I used the Apple Watch, I did used to use Fitbits all the time, but the hardware was always so terrible on those, I stopped using those. This hardware is better. Okay, so they bought Fitbit using the software, and I think the hardware is a big improvement. So there's that. By the way, I got in hazel. I did do the unboxing on a short, which I really like the color as well. So just something to keep in mind. So I prefer the software. I think the one thing that could be improved, and they have to kind of keep working on this. I think Google's got something here with Fitbit, but they have to keep working on this, and they can't drop the ball like they do on many other things with respect to software. They'll have something for a minute, and then suddenly it's no longer there, right? Like, hey, what happened to my Google Podcast app, right? Well, it's not there anymore. Those kinds of things. So if they keep with it, I think they would have to have better integration with like medical providers, medical service providers, whereas Apple, I think, already has an edge or an advantage there. So they do need to catch up a little bit, but not much. This one, you can now send, from my understanding, like what I read online is that you can send like your heart rate information, or let's say you need to do, if you're somebody who has heart issues and you have ECGs, I was reading online that you could send the ECG to your doctor now with the Fitbit, through Fitbit app. So that's something that, Apple Watch has kind of had on lock, and I think Google is kind of pushing on that quite a bit. And again, some of the people who are YouTube creators that really focus on the scientific aspect of like the accuracy of these watches do rate the Pixel Watch 2 and the Pixel Watch 3 pretty highly. Okay, so that's something to kind of think about. Is it quite at the Apple Watch level yet in terms of medical service provider integration? Not quite, but it's getting there and it's close. Hopefully they'll continue in that realm, because I think that would really make a big difference, right? Adding things like, for example, well, obviously they have sleep tracking, but like Apple has sleep apnea detection. They have the blood oxygen sensor, at least on some of the older watches. I know they have an issue with that now. So with some of the newer watches, they're not allowed to put it on there. But, I think that's where the whole temperature on the phone thing is also coming in. They kind of have that in mind, right? So just something to kind of think about. But, if you're not really that hardcore into like, making sure that the medical service integration, then you don't necessarily need that. I mean, I don't necessarily need that myself right now, but it's just nice to know that it's there, right? So just something to keep in mind. I'll go ahead and try to keep this unlocked here. So there's that. So the battery life, that's another thing. On the 45 millimeter is outstanding. I'm getting a day and a half to 2 days, including working out 1 to 2 times per day, doing all the regular daily activities, and then also sleep tracking 1 time. Now, if I want to sleep track 2 days in a row, then I need to charge it. It's probably a good idea. I don't need to charge it, but it'll be really low in the morning. Okay, so then I would need to charge it in the morning, or I could charge it in the evening and then, maybe take a shower, charge it up, and then sleep with it. And then maybe if I need to recharge it again in the morning. It's kind of like a day and 3/4 watch without the sleep tracking or with the sleep tracking, or you just want to keep it overnight. It depends on how often you want to sleep track. If you want to sleep track every day, then you're going to need to charge it in the evening time on the second day, or in the morning time. I guess it would be on the third day. So personally, I would probably go with the second day just to be sure, to make sure you get all your sleep tracking in, and just charge it before bed while you're getting yourself ready for bed, or while you're taking your shower, whatever you're doing. I would probably do it that way. So there's that. The performance is also fantastic. There's no lag, no stuttering. It has a snappy Snapdragon chip in it. It's got also, I guess it's a dual chip, so Cortex chip as well. It's an M33 processor from what I read. It does the job seamlessly, so it's no big deal there, right? So I really like it. But my favorite thing really is just the really simple ease of use, right? You can kind of like just scroll through these tiles here. You kind of know where everything is, where, kind of up, down, all that kind of stuff. So I really like it. You know, there are the apps right there. You hit the button and you see all your apps there. So it just works really simply. I got to be honest. I think this iteration of Google software on the phones, on the watch, they really brought it this year. I think that in many ways, as I mentioned in my 9 Pro XL video, they're kind of out iPhoning the iPhone in terms of simplicity of use in that sense. I really think I just find everything more intuitive to use than even the iPhone, which is really simple to use. This feels like simple, but also intuitive. It's like a combination of both. But like I said, if you have the Pixel Watch 2, then I don't necessarily think you need to upgrade if the size of the Pixel Watch 2 works for you. And just go ahead and roll with that for another year. I think you'd be fine. If the battery life is good enough for you, if the size is good enough for you. But like me, I prefer the bigger watch faces. So the 45 millimeter was where it was at for me. So that's why I upgraded, I think it was $220 credit at Best Buy, basically made this watch half off, okay? If you took advantage of the trade-in with the Pixel 9 Pro XL, you could have basically gotten the watch thrown in with that $200 gift card or whatever. But again, if you have the 9, I don't think you need to upgrade. If you're coming from the Apple ecosystem, I think it could work. If you really need the healthcare service provider integration, perhaps Apple might be what to stick with. I still use both, to be honest with you, because I do like both watches. And also I have LTE on my Apple Watch. I don't have LTE on this watch. And I like to just be out and about without my phone sometimes. But I think that switching over now is probably as easy as it's ever been. So in terms of like the Apple Watch, and you worried about, oh, I really love my Apple Watch, I don't know if I want to switch to a Pixel Watch. I think that might not be really an issue anymore, especially if you're using like a base model Apple Watch. Now, if you're using an Ultra or a higher end Apple Watch or a higher end Samsung Watch, then hopefully in the future they'll make a higher end offering. I think that's kind of Google's next step. I don't know how well these are selling. I don't know if this is profit making for them in any way. But if they can kind of continue on with this really kind of cool design, and they can make a premium watch, something with sapphire glass, something more rugged, something that really lays into the fitness tracking and the Fitbit integration. Obviously, people are really super hardcore. They use Garmin's and Polars and all that kind of stuff. So that's not necessarily the crowd, but if they could go for that or go in that direction, I think they really got something there. And so I think just that. I would love to see it if they made an ultra like version of this watch. I would that would be, and then put an LTE version of it as well. I think I might completely fully move over from the Apple Watch altogether. So that's it. I think, overall Google has done a really great job with the hardware this year, minus the 9 Fold Pro. I think it's a nice phone. If you saw my review, it's well designed. It just it's not quite as sturdy as I'd like it to be. And it's not quite, I think the software is kind of half baked. They didn't mess around with the watch, and they didn't mess around with their phones, their non-foldables. The Pixel Watch 3 is awesome. I highly recommend it. But again, if you have the 2 and you're happy with the size and the battery life, then you're cool. Don't worry about it upgrading. I find this more intuitive than the Tizen Samsung watches. I know now Samsung's using Watch OS, Wear OS. I don't like the double down on some of the Samsung apps, so that's kind of why I prefer stock Android. But so I would go in this direction in terms of a watch. Okay, well, that's all for now. I hope you're well, and I hope your family's well, and take care of yourself. See you next time. Bye.